So let's talk about 5 things that you need to do when you're landing your first remote sales role. Not even if this is your first, if you are just stepping onto a new team, doing these 5 things are going to set you up for a lot of success in that first month, in the first 90 days. For those of you that don't know who I am, I'm Tiye. I run a software company called RepSelect where we place reps with business owners. Business owners go on the platform to invite reps to their job opportunities. If you're looking to hire, looking to land a role, links are in the description. So jumping right into the 5 things that you really want to focus on when you're jumping on your first or your next role, with number 1 being grow your conviction, right? It is really, really difficult. And to be honest, you shouldn't be selling something that you have no conviction in. And just naturally, for most of you, the next offer you get on or the first offer you get on is not going to be something that you're 1000% gung ho about. It might not be something that you're the most passionate about. It might not be something that you have insanely high levels of belief and conviction in. So you need to actually take some steps, do the work to grow that conviction, because conviction sells. Conviction is going to allow you to have natural tonality on these calls. And when you're selling something that you believe in, it's going to transfer to the prospect. There's a lot of transfer of belief. There's a lot of transfer of feeling when you're on the call. And like I always say on tons of videos, you've probably heard this before if this is not your first one, people have a natural BS meter. And if you're not selling you actually believe in, that meter is going to be ringing off the charts for the prospect. So grow your conviction. And how you do this is hopefully the company that you're working with has a bunch of case studies, has a bunch of testimonials, and you can just spend 10 minutes, 20 minutes, however long per day, should set aside some time, put it on your calendar, whatever you have to do, set aside some time to go through it consistently, whether that's reading the stories, whether that's going to the win post in the Slack or the school group, whether that's watching case study videos. Get to know the stories, get to know the transformations, get to know all the ways, all the people, all the businesses that your company has helped. That way, you can get on these calls with massive conviction, and you have stories to pull from when you're trying to help people overcome fear, overcome doubt, and overcome uncertainty. That is number 1. Number 2 is going to be soak up the best. Now, this is not for you to try and copy anyone word for word, but you want to start to train your subconscious what to do when your mind goes blank. That is a really, really good way for salespeople to learn. It's a really good way to pick up how to handle certain objections, how to answer certain questions, how to when to give different product knowledge about the service you're selling. And the way you soak up the best is going to the number 1 closer on the team, whoever is closing the most, and not asking for their script, but getting a bunch of their closed calls and just listening to it, just feeding your brain over and over again what is good. A lot of times where salespeople go wrong is they feed themselves the bad by constantly listening to their calls and trying to pick it apart. Constantly listening to their bad calls and saying, oh, I need to fix this, I need to fix that. And all they're doing is training their brain to do more of the same, because our brains are like sponges. It just soaks up and it just does what it knows, right? It doesn't necessarily clue in that much when you say not to do this or to do this. It just does what it knows to do. And if you practice the wrong thing over and over again, if you hear the wrong stuff over and over again, you're going to just pick that up. So instead of constantly listening to your own calls and picking apart how bad it is, listen, not to say not listen to your own calls, listen to it, pick one thing that you need to improve on, fix that, but spend the bulk of your time, the bulk of your review, the bulk of your listening should be what is right, should be what is someone that is doing well, right? So get a call library as big as possible, and whether you're going for a walk, at the gym, wherever you're at, just listen to what is good. Start to ingrain that in your brain so that you default to it in those moments when you're on sales calls and your mind just draws a blank. You don't know what to say. Maybe cortisol's shooting up. Maybe the prospect said something unexpected or asked a question that you aren't the most prepared to answer. I found that when I did this, I would start, the first thing that would just pop in my head started to be the calls that I would listen to. And the calls that I would listen to were the person who did the best. And I only listened to their closed calls. So whatever they said, however they responded, worked. And naturally, that response was the first thing that just popped up in my mind. And I started responding in the same way. And I started closing more deals. So soak up the best, listen to what's good, listen to what is working, right? Number 3, kind of already said it, but improve one thing at a time. Another issue with reps that listen to their calls too much and try to point out too many things, and you see this a lot with sales managers and maybe sales leaders, business owners, when they're reviewing calls, they might give that rep like 6 things to work on, and you're not going to be able to go from one call to the next and fix 6 things, right? At most, you might be able to improve 1 or 2 things per week. So it's a lot better if every single week you just knock one thing out of the park, whether it's getting better at handling this one objection that's a super common objection that you see on in this company on that offer, whether it's, you know what, I've been super awkward and not framing my calls right. That's probably something you could fix in a couple days. But again, you're focusing on one thing when you're doing your role plays or whatever it is you're doing to get better. You're just focusing on solving that one aspect of your game, not all of the things at once. You're not going to completely change. You're not going to fix discovery, fix your frame, fix your pitch, fix your objection handling from one role play to the next, from one sales call to the next. So you want to rep it out. You're going to get a lot more progress and you're going to see a lot more results by repping out one thing at a time, getting good, and then moving on to the next. Then again, trying to make 1% increase in every single area. So one thing at a time, that would be 3. 4 is hit volume. Especially if this is one of your first or second role, you're new to the sales game, just hit volume. If you hit volume, the skill will come, right? You want to hit as high numbers as you possibly can within reason, of course. I'm not saying put in 18-hour days, 16-hour days, but with the allotted time that you've given for the role that you're in, maximize your output. Don't overthink everything. Just hit volume. Do more than everyone on the team, because what's going to happen is through that volume, you're just going to get more results than if you did less volume. And 2, it's the fastest way to get better. It's the fastest way to have that skill come. And what's going to happen is maintaining that volume over time, your numbers are not going to stay the same. They're going to improve because you're going to start picking up momentum, and your skill is going to start pushing those numbers more and more in your favor. And that's why the last thing that you must do, that I'm really surprised that so many don't do, track everything. You want to know exactly what inputs created the output, which is your commission. Right? If you're an appointment setter, you want to know exactly how many dials resulted in how many pickups, resulted in how many full conversations or triage calls, which resulted in how many sets, which resulted in how many shows, which resulted in how many offers that the closers made to your calls, which resulted in how many closes, how many units, which resulted in how much upfront cash collected. And you can take that upfront cash collected, divide it by how many dials, and you can see, hey, I make XYZ amount of dollars per dial or cents per dial. And you can use that as motivation. You can use that as fuel to then go and get your volume up. Because if you're like, there's so many times where I sit down with setters and I say, and they're not dialing enough, and I say, hey, doing the math here, you make $1 per dial. That means every time you pick up that phone and dial a number, $1 goes into your bank account, right? And then immediately they start picking up their volume because that's their thought process. It's like, it's $1 every time I dial. It's 10 cents every time I dial. Imagine if 10 cents, 30 cents, 50 cents, $1 was deposited into your bank account each and every time you dialed one number, whether they picked up or not. That's the kind of data that you want to have, 1, for motivation, and 2, to know how to fix and improve the process. In sales, in marketing, in lots of things, you want to make data-driven decisions. And you can't make data-driven decisions if you don't have any data, right? Some people say, hey, my numbers aren't there, my commission's not there, what can I do? It's like, okay, well, what's your show rate? What's your offer rate? What's your, dial to conversation rate? Like, depending on the numbers of all of those things, all the categories I just mentioned that you should know to get to that commission, you can make slight tweaks in all of those that will make it all make a difference in the outcome. It's not just talk better on the phone. It's not, and even when it comes to talking better on the phone, is it the kickoff? Is it how you start the triage call? Is it how you end it as a closer? Same thing. Is it how you pitch? Is it how you handle objections? Is it the pre-call work you're doing when you pre-call your clients? Is it the resources you send them? Do you send them too much? So if you don't have the data of everything it took to create the sale, we won't be able to reverse engineer your paycheck, and we won't be able to know what needs to improve. I've been on teams where everything, all metrics the same. And then I just noticed that we had a 60% offer rate, which means the calls that showed up, we only pitched and made the offer to 60% of the people. So I'm like, okay, is that because the right people aren't on the call? Is that because the closers just aren't offering because maybe they only want to offer laydowns, so they have that excuse of like a high offer to close rate? Like, what's going on? We went through it, we took a look, we found out, no, people are qualified. Why aren't we making the offer? Make more offers. They made more offers, closes went up, cash went up, everything went up, units went up, right? So you have to have the data. You have to have the data. I can't stress it more than enough. If you're on an offer, hit volume, have the data. So quick recap, 5 things that you want to do when you jump on a new role. Grow your conviction, testimonials, case studies, get sold on what you're selling, soak up the best, listen to what is good over and over and over again, ingrain it in your brain, ingrain it in your muscle memory. Make sure that your brain hears more of what's good than what's bad. Listen to the top person's calls. Make sure that you're improving one thing at a time. Don't try to change your entire process and call on the next call. Pick one thing a week, pick one thing every 2 to 3 days, master it, get so good at it until the point where it's just natural, it's muscle memory for you to do it the new way that's working, and then move on to the next thing. Hit volume, crush volume, do as much volume as you can in the allotted time. You don't got to put in 16-hour days, just hit high volume, the skill will catch up. Track everything so we know how to reverse engineer your paycheck, and we know what's working and not working within your process, and we know what to improve. You do those 5 things for the first 30 days, first 60 days, first 90 days, forever, right? These are things that you should just consistently be doing. Maybe the amount in which you do each thing shifts, but if you do it, you'll do well on an offer, and you'll make good money, and you'll be glad you jumped into remote sales. I'll leave it there. Hopefully you guys got some value from that. If you want to hear more from me, watch more videos, join my remote sales community. We do a free support call every single Monday. Jump on. I hold nothing back. Ask any questions. Happy to help. And I'll see you guys in the next video.